Hello and welcome to WOW's Operation Replays. We are doing tech line for Zieten. Now Zieten is the tier 8 tech ship for the German battle cruisers, okay? So without the contributor flag, 5% to credits, 55 to ship XP, 65 to commander XP, and 50 to ship XP, or 100 to ship XP, or free XP, sorry. Armor layout, she gets 27mm bow, 60mm icebreaker, armor belt of 205 or 250, and then a plating on the side of 170 with a 27mm stern and a 32mm deck, which runs basically the length of her ship. So she's fairly armored for a battle cruiser. It is a weird setup because there's one gun in the front, two in the back. Now, survivability wise, she gets 62,900 with a 28% torpedo reduction. Artillery wise, she gets 6 406mm guns, 22.5 second reload. Without gun feeder, 22.5 switch time, 30-second 180, max dispersion of 185 and a 16.4 range. Secondary wise, with a full build, she can reach out to 11 kilometers. So she basically gets these little guys here, which are a 3.4 reload, 10.9 range, 1200 damage, 5% of fire, 26 armor pin, 900 velocity. Then she gets the ones in the casemate, which are 9-second reloads, 10.8 or 10.11 kilometers, 1700 max damage, 8% of fire, 38 armor pin, and 875 for velocity. Then she gets her dual casemate ones, which are 9-second, 10.11 kilometers, 1700 max damage, 8% of fire, 38 armor pin, and the same velocity. So they do have a significant, durability. Now, if you're going to be running this in randoms or ops, you have to keep in mind that you will get, with the range, is a 1.6 kilometer range with 14 to your max dispersion. So there is it isn't bad, but it's a slight trade-off. So keep that in mind. Torpedo-wise, she gets, it's a 7-second 180, 70-second reload time, 12-kilometer range, 16,500 damage. They're pretty slow at 50 knots, and a 1.2 detectability range. So they're on the slow side. Airstrike-wise, she gets 2 charges, or 2 flights, 1 plane in each flight. 10-kilometer range, which is very, forgiving and very great to have. 2 bombs on a payload with max damage of 4,200. So she's on the generous side for sub defense. AA-wise, still pretty decent at, 412, quad mount, 30 millimeters, and then she gets her secondaries, which are 105s, then she gets 80. So she's kind of light on the AA, okay? She's kind of light, but she has continuous damage of 265, shell explosion, which has 7, which have a 5.2 range, max range, to 3.5 range, with 7 explosions. So decent, but not the best. Maneuverability, 31 knots, 820 turning circle, with a 15.3 rudder shift. and then concealment of 13.3. Now, you also have to keep in mind that this does not have concealment expert. With concealment expert, it goes down to 12 kilometers. Okay? Now, for the modules, you want auxiliary armaments, 1 for your secondaries, damage control mod 1 and 2, and then secondary battery mod 1, and then concealment modification 1. Consumable items with Superintendent, you get 4 charges of repair party and 4 charges of hydro. Now for the bill, this is where it gets kind of, interesting. This is how I would run it, but how I would recommend it would be preventative maintenance, inertia fuse, secondaries, adrenaline rush, emergency repair expert, and then you take those last 2 points off. That puts you at around 11 points. So hypothetically, you would have to you could pick up all those skills, and that's what I would recommend. I run brisk because, one, I run it in ops, so you want a little bit more speed. If you're just going to run it for an op ship and then move on to the next ship, you can do brisk will work, but it really just depends. That's my personal play. I like brisk. Let's get into the replay from my good friend Rolkatsuki, and you'll see how he runs his Zieten. Now, the reason I did say you wanted to take this, the inertia fuse, before we get into the replay, is because when you look at the secondaries, you lose some fire chance. You lose practically all your fire chance, but you basically cross the 47 millimeter, and, well, your small ones can pin 32 millimeter, which is basically everything you face. So keep that in mind. You'll be pinning more armor with the armor fuse. And if you're going to be running Guter Lunchens on a Schlieffen, that does work really well. Remember, Schlieffen has amazing secondaries, and with Lunchens, you're going to be secondarying every battleship to death. So let's get into that replay, folks. Hello, and good morning, good night, or good evening, wherever you're at. Today we have Rolkatsuki and a Zieten on Narai with a Shikaku, Nebraska, Pensacola, Kid, Mahan, and a Gajamaja. So we'll see how the team does. Now he does have Luchens on this build, so we'll see what happens.
Ship commanders, suppress enemy resistance. Provide cover for the convoy. Let's give them a hard time. Warship commanders, provide cover for the transport ship. Awaiting instructions. Enemy force detected. Ship sighted.
Shoots the Emil, doesn't get anything. Secondaries on the Emil. I'm shocked he's not shooting. There we go, switching to the BB. It's a nice 14K salvo on it. Picks up the New York, but just barely misses the
Destroy the target. Torpedoes to starboard.
Mahan. Secondaries are going off on the Leander and also on the Queen Elizabeth. Does he get a Citadel on that? Nope, just overpins. Picks up the Leander.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
His torps look really good on the Queen Elizabeth, though. His Lucian skill goes off already. Wow. Does get one hit on the Queen. It's unfortunate. I don't see anyone going for the transports yet, which is worrying. Looks like the Nebraska and the CV are going to help try to take care of the transport, so that's good.
Enemy cruiser sunk. Attention. Enemy transport ships detected. Destroy the enemy transport ships.
I mean, I get just sitting and spoke and letting the secondaries do it. It's like if you had a vampire and a sleeping. It works. I mean, easy damage, but you're not taking the damage, so makes sense to me.
You destroyed an enemy cruiser.
$7,800 and right down the bow. Doesn't get the kill though, unfortunate.
Torpedoes to port.
The CV hasn't really tried to. Okay, he is going for there. I thought I didn't see him, but we'll see what happens with the CV and the transports.
Enemy destroyer sunk.
Takes a nice 13K salvo there from the Missouri. I think those are gonna miss. Yep, they missed. Picks up the Missouri with double fires.
Battleship destroyed. All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
CV's using AP bombers instead of torps. That's not good.
Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes direct front.
Nice, pretty good salvo into that. Cleveland looks like around 16,000.
The ship is on fire.
Picks up the Wakeful, and secondaries are going to kill the DD, or the Cleveland. Kid's doing okay back there on the CV.
Enemy cruiser sunk.
All enemy transport ships were destroyed. Destroy all enemy warships. Ship commanders, provide cover for the transport ships.
Picks up the DD.
We've sunk an enemy destroyer.
Clear the basin of enemy ships.
Oof. Double Citadel. The Omaha just takes it out. Kid picks up the Lexington. They picked up all the transports. Then you got Katsuki here just driving around in circles, letting secondaries kill everything. Picks up the Queen, or the New York, or New Mexico. God, it's one of the news.
The ship is on fire.
Ouch, that one kind of hurt. 11,000 on him.
This is the convoy commander. Our troops are starting to land. Problem solved, sir.
Oof.
That's how it's done. Much obliged, Commander. The ship is on fire. This is the convoy commander. Protect the basin.
We destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Almost 400,000, 12 kills, 700 secondary hits. 409,000. 14 kills. Really good match. 5 stars. Nice job, Rolkatsuki.